2026 is going to be an awesome year. We got some pretty cool stuff coming up. First off, we got Foundations of Recovery. This is our flagship program. We're starting it in January.
This is for anyone, man, woman, or couple who wants to come and reclaim their heart from shame, trauma, and betrayal. We start off with an education on all sorts of principles, give you the common language. We feed you from a fire hose in terms of all things recovery.
It is such a great start to recovery. And we get at the roots of things, Tyler. This isn't like any other program. Like, this is our healing journey in process, and Foundations is where we begin.
If you look at the value that you're getting there to kick off a good recovery with all of the right education, all of the right language, and a team to get you started while also being directed by Brannon and myself through the whole process, what a deal.
So if you're interested, if you're struggling, if you've been wanting to do something for a long time, jump into this. This only comes around every so often, and we would love to have you there.
Click the link in the description to sign up for it. And to make it even sweeter, we're also including a raffle for a free pass to the Radiant Dawn retreat. Anyone who signs up for Foundations will be added to the raffle for that free Radiant Dawn pass. If you're a man and you sign up for Foundations, your name still gets entered, and you can give that pass away if you win it to any woman that you want to.
So what you're saying, Tyler, is if you sign up and participate in Foundations, you could possibly go to Radiant Dawn for free?
That's exactly what I'm saying, which is crazy because Foundations by itself is already an insane value.
Man, I sound so salesy. But it actually is awesome. So come to Foundations. And even if you don't come to Foundations, sign up for Radiant Dawn. It's beyond therapy, the best healing experiences that you can have.
Click the link below and come join us. 5 misnomers about healthy relationships. Welcome to the Therapy Brothers podcast.
I'm Brannon.
I'm Tyler.
We're brothers.
We're therapists.
And we know recovery.
Bring your stories, your questions, your successes with real recovery.
Hey, Tyler, you ready to have some hard conversations?
Let's do it.
Let the Therapy Brothers podcast begin.
And we're trying out a new recording platform today that's supposed to actually make the experience better in terms of quality and our ability to reach people better. So hopefully this is working. I don't know where the title's at or what's going on there, but we are live on YouTube right now, at least according to StreamYard, which is where we're recording from now.
So to all of our listeners, if you could do us a favor and go check us out on YouTube and see if it's working, that would be amazing. Let's see if our YouTube channel actually works.
see if this is connecting properly. So
yeah,
one of the cool features about this, Brannon, is it allows us to have some things for anyone who's watching on YouTube to have it a little bit more interactive. One of those things that you'll see right now is there's a barcode here. If you scan that barcode, that'll take you directly to the page to look at Foundations of Recovery, which is what we have coming up January 19th. It's our 6-week intro course for the process of recovery for both the betrayer and the betrayed. And kind of gets you, it's like the kickoff course to step you into the healing journey, which is the course that we have on reclaimyourheart.org. So
yeah, I know
I'd love to have somebody. Go ahead.
Oh, use the barcode. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I want somebody to use the barcode to see if it actually works. But
yeah,
but cool. We have a barcode there that you can scan on the video, and it'll take you directly to that Foundations page. So if you're interested in learning about it or figuring out what it's all about, and then you want to give us some feedback about it, that would be great too.
We are so state of the art. It's amazing.
Yeah, we are. I've always been known for my tech prowess.
Tyler, I've always been known as your brother. That's how I am famous.
Yeah. You're known as the guy behind me making fun of my tech prowess because you're worse than I am.
You're known as your tech prowess. I guess I'm known as your tech prowess because I'm known as your brother.
Well, good. That's what you named yourself today on the episode, is Tyler's sidekick.
That's accurate.
Just being sarcastic.
Tyler, I want to dive deep a little bit, and I know there's a big ad about Foundations on this episode beforehand, but like to really, what you said, Tyler, drive home what it is. For those of you who have done other programs or have thought about doing a program, when it comes to sex addiction and betrayal trauma, this program is unique. And it's unique because we really get down to the roots of what's going on and why the last week's episode, we talked about manifesting, why in your individual life and in your relationship, you're manifesting what you are. And we help you understand that so that you can create something new in your life. And it's a program that will shift everything for you. So yes, it's about sex addiction, betrayal trauma, but we go into the trauma work and we create shifts through experience. It's a group program, but it's so much more than that. It's a journey, and it's a journey that works. We've had many people go through it now, and it works if you work it. So we want you in there. We want you to come on this journey with us. We want you to find healing. We want you to find peace, and we want you to create something different in your life. So if you're on the edge, jump over that edge and come join us. It's vulnerable, but it's awesome, and we would love to have you.
Amen, Brannon.
All right, should we get into the content today?
Let's get into the episode today. We were talking, and you and I were both talking just about some people that we work with, and going, man, they're doing a lot better than we think. Than they think they are, you know, like, and it got us like we're from the outside going, man, look at how much they've grown, and look at how much better their relationship is, and look at how, and they keep coming back being like, you know, things like we haven't arrived yet, or things like, man, when are we going to actually get it right in our relationship, or like when, and you and I were talking like, man, there's a lot of misnomers about healthy relationships that might actually be doing people a disservice, and so. Today, we're going to go through 5 misnomers about healthy relationships that some people subscribe to or believe, and we will talk about the pieces of truth inside of each of those misnomers, and then we'll probably debunk them.
Yeah. Yep. I love it. Tyler, can I start with a little analogy?
Yep.
And this is kind of an overarching misnomer, then we'll get into the individual ones. But you like your job, right?
I love my job.
Yeah. Well, and you love your job, you say.
Yeah, most days.
Okay, yeah. So like, is your job work?
Yeah, a ton of work.
A ton of work. Is there frustration sometimes?
Probably as many days or more than the other way.
So you're saying more often than not, you have frustration during the day.
I have, yes. My day is hard work. And there's a lot of frustration almost on a daily basis. And there's also a ton of reward.
Yeah. Do you feel like you're accomplishing something, or that there's some like goodness coming from it?
Yeah, I think that's it. There's purpose, there's passion, there's alignment with my identity and my values. And it doesn't absolve the problems that come up. It's just that, you know, see that as part of the process.
And in your job, do you have opportunity for learning and growth?
Every single day.
Yeah. So you see where I'm going here, right?
Yeah.
Here's a misnomer. We don't look at our relationships that way very often. Where it's work, it's a process, it's day to day, it's frustrating. There's wins, there's real difficult stuff that comes up. But overall, as I'm hearing you talk about your job, Tyler, I'm hearing that you love it, that you choose it, that you continue to do it for a reason. And despite all of the frustration, I know a lot of what your job is like because we have the same job. Despite all of the frustration and all of those things, it's a beautiful thing in your life of learning and growth and creation. We don't look at our relationships that way, although that's what our relationships are. A lot of times we look at our relationship like, when am I going to have sex again? You know, like, how come they don't like me? Are they going to do the dishes, or am I? Like, we get so stuck in that we don't look at it as this process of learning and growth together and creation together.
Yeah, it's I think this is the misnomer number one, Brannon, that we were going to talk about is that couples we work with, they have it in their head that we will arrive someday. Like we're on this journey and we're going through hell, but eventually we'll be at the top. And then once we're at the top, Disney will smile down and we will be happily ever after.
Happily ever after. You pay your money to the therapist for long enough, then all of a sudden you're at your castle and dressed like a prince and a princess.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not how it works. That's not why you're ruining my day here.
Well, I think a lot of people suffer more because they think that's how it's supposed to work. And then when they get into the human experience of being in a committed relationship with another human being with their strengths and weaknesses and your strengths and weaknesses, and then they never arrive, they almost like shame themselves for never arriving. And so they add suffering to what's already can be a difficult, purifying process of what marriage is. Brown, we just in one of our men's groups, we just finished reading a book called Deep and Simple, which is just a phenomenal book. But in the section about relationships, it talks about reasons for getting into relationships. And he called it big love and small love. And small love is the kind of Disney kind of love where we arrive and we live happily ever after. And we always need to be blissful and happy with each other. And big love is what he defined as a spiritual path of continuous growth that leads to something bigger than ourselves individually. So there's a reason for being together, and part of it is the struggle of the spiritual path together.
Yeah. It's interesting. I really like that you're bringing that up. Like you're even going deeper with it. It's not just learning and growing. It's like a spiritual journey together. What you're saying is that relationships are more like your job than they are like the castle on the hill.
Yeah, right? You think about it like this happens to people all the time who are like, let's say this happens in marriage, it happens with kids. People talk about their kids or their marriage. Like the two biggest things that comedians talk about are their spouse or their kids, and they're always like talking about the ball and chain or this or that and the other. And someone who's single or someone who doesn't have kids is there going like, why would you want kids? And then in the same breath, the person will turn around and be like, best thing I ever did. Like, it's like, well, how can you explain it that way where it sounds horrible and yet you're saying it's the best thing you've ever done? And one of the reasons why is because of those things that are in some ways intangibles. There's that feeling of there's commitment, there's that feeling of continued growth, there's that honing in of certain principles like humility. You have to choose to engage with somebody else in a way where you can do your best to grow together and keep the peace. You're cultivating patience, love, like all of those principles that can't really be developed otherwise.
What's interesting, Tyler, is like when I think about my own life, I think of my relationships and my closest relationships, and I would say my siblings and my friends. Like I have some just great friends, and I'm close with my siblings. Those relationships, honestly, Tyler, are fairly easy. And one of the things that I enjoy with those relationships is that we laugh at life together. We observe it as it goes. It's like, oh yeah, look at that. Look at this like painful thing, hard thing, funny thing. And we can kind of laugh and enjoy and just watch the process unfold of life. But marriage is different. Marriage is, I have to sit down with my wife and we have to actually do a budget. We have to actually look at like, how are we going to figure this out? We're not laughing about how hard it is to do a budget. We are actually doing the difficult work of doing the budget together.
Right.
And so like, she's in the arena with me, and it's a whole new level and it's a whole new ball game. And that pushes us either further apart or closer together as we learn and grow through those hard things together, whether it's parenting or intimacy or finances or family or whatever it is. we have to figure out how to navigate that together as different individuals. And through that, we get to learn more about who we are as individuals because we choose to do it together.
Right. And if you explain it that way, then the desire to arrive is actually small-minded and short-sighted. So the shift in perspective is, and this is the first one, the encouraging word for this misnomer is, if you can shift your perspective to we get to grow for the rest of our lives together, think about how that changes everything else that's going on in your life right now with your partner.
Tyler, I like that. A perspective shift word for each misnomer. Growth. I love it.
We get to grow. And we don't really ever want to arrive. Like, I don't know. I kind of look at that with my own life. I don't really ever want to fully arrive now that I understand what recovery work really is, which is that continued process of growth.
Which means now you've arrived. See the paradox there?
Which means now you've arrived.
You've arrived because you've accepted that you're never going to arrive.
But not just accepted it like in a beaten man kind of a way, but more of like a, hey, this is a great life kind of a way.
Exactly. Yeah. Living more in the moment than you are in the future of what you have to create, but accepting what is.
Yeah.
Should we go to number two?
Go to number two. Number two.
This is one that a trap that most people fall into, and I don't know if it's a cultural thing or just a natural human thing, but for some reason we feel like, and one of the reasons why we have so many fights in our relationships is we feel like we have to agree with each other. We have to convince, we have to prove, we have to show the other person why we are right. And a lot of times people lock horns because they view something completely different and they're there to correct the other person. This creates all kinds of problems. It creates all kinds of friction. Tyler, any thoughts on this?
No, I think you're spot on. It's but I think there's the pressure. Like the pressure is that if there is some conflict in our relationship, that means that we're somehow doing something wrong. Again, this is a shift in view on what conflict is. There's healthy ways to do conflict and tension, and there's unhealthy ways to do conflict and tension. But even really good relationships, you're in with people, you will never fully agree on everything.
Tyler, you'll understand this, and of course, Tyler sees the world similar to me because why?
Well, we were boiled in a similar soup growing up.
We were boiled in the same soup. And so like and it's funny because I don't know if you're this way yourself, but you'll understand why I am. My yard being nice is important to me. Like, it's really important. So I'll spend a lot of money on fertilizer. I'll spend a lot of time sitting on my lawnmower. Now with my wife, she's kind of like, what? Like, why? Like, what are we doing? Why are we spending so much time and money and resources on the grass? Am I right or is she right?
It depends.
There's not a right, is there?
Yeah. You know, what's funny about that, Brannon, is that in my case, I went so far the other way. Like we mowed one too many lawns, so much so that I let my yard.
You're done.
Crap now.
You're done. You swung the pendulum.
Now my wife's the one out there go like, hey, would you take just a little pride in the yard? You know, like just a little bit.
I went and got as much grass as I possibly could to take care of it for the rest of my life. We can psychoanalyze this later, but
you keep buying acreage so that you can mow longer.
Yeah. But you see the point here, right? Like,
yeah, of course.
Does she have a good point of like, hey, why are we allocating time and resources and everything there? And I come back with, why wouldn't we? Like we have this, we're stewards of this land. Let's take care of it. Plus it's good for your mental health to be outside. It's beautiful. It's why wouldn't we? Now who's right and who's wrong? Nobody's right and nobody's wrong.
Right. There's truth on both sides. And it's coming from a different perspective. Brandon, like one of the most common things that I think, we see maybe coming through the therapy office is people get together from two different families of origin. And then there's a lot of friction. And here's the classic case. I was just in my office yesterday with somebody with this case where the wife was like, they're going like, oh my gosh, you are so tied up with your family. Like you can't even take a breath without your whole family knowing what's going on. That is so annoying. And he's over there going like, it's awesome. We're so connected. We love each other. We have support with each other all the way. And he's like, but what's really annoying is like, you haven't talked to your sister in like 2 years. Like
right.
That's terrible relationship. And they're fighting with each other when in reality, they're both coming at it from a different perspective. And if they actually saw that the differences would let them maybe learn and grow together, now she could lean in and go, I do admire that you want closeness and connection. And there needs to be some structure and boundary here for us to be healthy. And he could turn back around and be like, I love your independence. And I'd love for there to be a little bit more connection. Right. Instead, it turns into a fight because we don't agree on everything. Like, does Santa wrap presents or not?
Oh, that's a big one.
That's like blown marriages apart.
Luckily, me and my wife are on the same page with that one. So
yeah. But it's those little things. And if we don't agree on that,
I don't know. Tyler Santa does it, so I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. But if we don't agree on that, then that means we're failing in some way. We should be like this, on the same page all the way together. And the truth
some things seem so obvious, like you have got to be kidding me. Like, how can you see it that way? And the reality is I think what we need to back up and say, even if it seems crazy, I have to ask myself, do I need to have a boundary around this, or is it okay that it's way different than me? Yeah. It's like, Tyler, you like a good can of sardines, right? Like you'll eat a good can.
I got made fun of at the Signal Fire because my snack at the top was a can of oysters and some string cheese.
Yeah. So and guess what?
The best backcountry snack there is.
Yeah. So do I. So does Rex. And the world hears that and they think these guys are like redneck crazy people that love sardines. Well, guess what? That's how we were raised. Like, it's the best snack. It's so easy, high in omega-3s. Now, the world looks at that and they judge it harshly. Like when I open up a can on a road trip with my friends and I eat it in the car, they don't like that.
They don't let you. My kids refuse to let me have it in the house. Yeah. They're like, "Hey, Dad, keep that in the garage." Like
if you crack a can open and be like, "Oh, that smells good." Here's the deal. I got the word for this one, Tyler. The word is, and by the way, the skills to get there are all about reflective listening, empathy, just good communication, giving the other person space to be them, understanding that your perspective is not the end all be all in the world. But and this is where like real love and real connection can happen, where that interdependence comes in and it's like, I am me and I love me, but I also love you enough to allow you to be you. And so the word for this one is understanding. Replace agreeing with understanding.
Yeah, which then means that you've got to take into account what that does is it allows you to look to be curious with your partner rather than the instant snap judgment. And we all do that. We all do this.
My wife, she was like, "Hey, we got to fix that thing on the south side of the house." And she pointed east. And I was like, "That's east." The south side? What are you talking about? South side? That's east. Yeah. And luckily I had just done a session about this, and I was like, instead of like pulling out a compass and throwing it in her face, I just stopped and said, "Oh, wait, so you think that's south over there?" And then I realized, does it matter whether it's?
Well, it might.
The project
if you guys
we
have to evacuate your house, yeah, you're probably going to be on the same page there.
So I was like, oh, how is that south? Help me understand it. And I'd have to be very careful in my tone and my energy, the way I come about that, of not insinuating that she's a crazy person, but to actually understand and empathize. And the truth is she was kind of pointing southeast. So like, as we talk about it, and we were like, oh yeah, and like I was a little bit off with my direction, and she was a little off with hers. Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Well, and the seeking of understanding is what allowed you to also then come to, which is interesting because that's also a pathway to agreeing a lot of the time without realizing that you were already
you kind of get there sometimes. Yeah. Which isn't the goal, but you can get there.
Yeah. Number 3, Brannon. And we talk about this one on the podcast a lot. I should be in a relationship with a partner who completes me.
Ugh. No, this one causes so many problems with couples. This basically, you just said I should be in a codependent relationship.
Basically, what I said is we need to be in a relationship where both of us are emotionally bankrupt, but we're trying to fill the bank account from the other person.
That's fun.
That's misery. That's a long, hard road.
This is a setup big time, because what if like what if my partner's waiting for me to like complete them? So they're sitting, around like, oh, I can't wait to connect and just talk and empathize and love each other. And I get home from work depleted, just done. I have nothing to give. What do you see the setup here?
Now it feels personal to your partner, when in reality, you're coming home thinking, man, I'm doing everything I can to be a good spouse, and I put in a hard day's work, helping other people and providing and doing whatever else, and then you step in, and now all of a sudden it feels personal, when in reality it's just a matter. It
was never personal.
State of being.
No. Yeah, it was never personal. Right. But that expectation is there that I need to consume you in order to be okay myself.
Right. And so the challenge to that is like, I think the little piece of truth inside of this one is yes, we want deep connection with each other. Like, that's kind of what that statement means, is that person completes me. Like, that what they're saying is there's that quote that's in the book, Deep and Simple Again, that says, I want to be so close that when one cries, the other tastes salt. Right. Every one of us kind of longs for that deep, deep kind of connection. And yet the way that connection comes isn't from extracting from the other person. There's like, people, there's a difference between giving and taking and offering and receiving. If I come into the relationship needing to take in order to be enough, then what I'm doing is I'm turning my relationship into a commodity. Yes. I'm like mining my value from the other person. Whereas if I show up in the relationship with an understanding of who I am, I'm offering my strengths and I'm willing to receive whatever the other person is offering back. Yeah. But that's a different energy. Like that's where I'm actually attending to the relationship in a way where I'm treating it like it matters and not like a commodity. I'm treating the person like a person.
Yep. Yep. Can I give just a couple examples? And we talk about this all the time, like you say, and we see this all the time. Things like, if, let's say, a partner is triggered by something, just something random, and the person who has broken trust in the past can't handle it, and they freak out, and they're like, I'll never be enough. I can never earn trust back again. I didn't even do anything. So now we go from, and I'll tie this back to this misnomer. We go from, I need you to be happy with me. I need you to complete me. So you're triggered, and I can't handle your trigger because I am needing you to be okay with me, and I didn't even do anything wrong. So now what I'm going to go do is prove to you that I didn't do anything wrong because I need you to be okay with me. And what gets lost in all of this is actual like connection, is actual relationship, is actual empathy. If I'm okay unto myself and you're triggered, and that trigger doesn't have anything to do with me, but you think it has everything to do with me, I can then stay in that space with you and help you process this, and understand why you're triggered and what's going on with you. Because I don't need you. I don't need to consume you. This is an example we see all the time, right, Tyler?
That's exactly right. And that's why we developed like the healing journey the way we did, is because it's an individual road into that place of like a deeper place of self-acceptance. And the deeper you go into self-acceptance, the more you have to offer to your partner, because you're not so busy always trying to curate or cultivate their response back to you.
Yep.
So now you're offering more. I think the word here for this one, Brannon, is authenticity.
Yeah. Yep. That's a good one. I'm going to show up authentic. One way to see this a lot, Tyler, is sex, is consuming a partner. So using someone to feel good and just using them, your partner will feel that from you. Whether you're using their body to feel good yourself, or whether you're trying to get them to orgasm so that you feel good about yourself, you're still consuming them. As opposed to when both partners show up authentic, I love that word. They show up authentic. They can make love and connect on real deep levels and feel cared for and seen in that process. It's way different than consuming each other and trying to complete each other that way. Okay.
That's good, Brannon. That leads right into number 4.
Yeah, give it to us, Tyler.
Okay, this is one we debated about a couple different ways of saying this, but number 4, misnomer in marriage: the frequency of sex determines the quality of our relationship.
Yeah, this is a misnomer. And it's a misnomer.
I think it's a pretty common one, though. You hear, how many couples, Brannon, do you know or do you have in your office that are bickering over what schedule they should be on and how many days a week? And
it never happens.
And they think that the number is what's actually going to determine the health of the relationship.
Yeah, I really like Finlayson Fife in the way she approaches this a little bit. She talks about a high desire partner and a lower desire partner, and the reason I like that is because she's identifying, and she's not saying the man or the woman, but she's identifying that they're different. And it's okay that they're different. The high desire partner is not a problem. The low desire partner is not a problem. But then how can you work together to actually have a healthy sex life and accept where you're at with that? The misnomer here, this comes back to our last one, Tyler. If we're using sex as the thing that means we're okay now, everything's good now, then there's this desperation to try to have sex happen as much as possible in order to get back to that okayness. And it's a problem because there's so many factors that go into wanting to have sex. And it's not just about the partner's desire or like, hey, a schedule. And a relationship is about connecting to the individual of where they're at with all of those factors. So it's not just, let's just get it done so that sex actually becomes a problem to a healthy relationship when it's used in the wrong way.
You're exactly right, Brannon. I think that's one of the challenges here and here's the truth. Some of the truth inside of where this misnomer comes from is, for relationships, sexual intimacy can be deeply powerful and deeply connecting and extremely important. That's all true. But we try to chase all of that with the frequency or the number of times per week. And then what it does is it turns the relationship, if you're not careful. I know some couples that do it, and it works for them, but it works for them because they have some underpinnings of safety and trust in the relationship first. And then it's just a way of being a reminder to say, hey, let's keep this at the front of our minds a little bit.
You mean they schedule it?
Yeah, they schedule it. Yeah. But most people schedule it. And then I like what you're saying about high desire, low desire. The high desire then feels entitled to it, and the low desire feels pressured into it. And by the nature of treating it that way, you're actually upending the whole reason for it, which is to actually experience together something that's really powerful and beautiful, that's based off of connection, vulnerability, respect, engagement. How many people do you know, Brannon, that want an engaged partner sexually, but then they demand that it happens so often, and that the person who's being demanded to is like, how can I fully give myself to this? Like, I feel like a kid who was just told to do their chores.
Pressure.
Right? That pressure shuts down the very thing that we're really wanting in sexual intimacy, which is a willing and engaged partner.
Yeah. So I'm going to give this a couple of words, Tyler, if I can. I can't just boil this down to one. So I'm going to give it boundaries. To be and when I say boundaries, I'm talking about Tyler and my definition of boundaries and all what that totally means. And I would also say some patience with each other, some patience and some boundaries. You bring that into the equation and replace an entitlement for sex with patience and boundaries. You'll probably have more sex, but it's not guaranteed. So,
and the frequency doesn't matter. You talk to people, and when they start to understand what they're really going for, and they start backing off on only the frequency, the pressure comes off. But then also the sexual encounters that start to happen when there's that patience, when there's that understanding, and when there's healthy boundaries, it actually brings more life to the relationship than treating it the other way around too. So it's more fulfilling in a lot of ways.
Absolutely. Okay. Are you ready for the last one here?
The last one, misnomers in relationships.
This is a fun one. I love this one.
I don't know if this is fun.
Here's a misnomer. The misnomer is that my partner should always back me up in my parenting style.
Of course, Brannon.
How dare you undermine me?
You're undermining me right now.
I'm acting like a fool, damaging our children, but how dare you undermine me? The worst thing happening here is you undermining me.
Yeah. Like things, I'm totally off my rocker. I'm on a scale of 0 to 10, I'm at 11 right now. But we're going down. We're in this together. Like, have you ever seen that? Have you ever seen that Jim Brewer clip? He's a comedian, and he's talking about like this moment. He comes home and he steps in the house, and there's like one kid down at the bottom of the stairs, another kid at the top, and his wife is just like yelling at the smallest kid, and he walks in and he's like, "What's going on?" And all of a sudden he's like, "What's going on? Like, we built this together. We did it." He's like, "I still don't even know what's going on." Like, like what? Help me know what I need to get behind, basically. Like, it's like, but yeah, I think here's the truth. Inside of this misnomer is, of course, we want to be on the same page as parents. Like, we want to have similar values in the way that we parent our children, and we want to follow through on those values. And I want to know that I'm in it with somebody who's got my back and I've got theirs. Right. That's part of a good relationship, is knowing that there's somebody in your corner with you all the way. Right. The problem is that if I've gone off the deep end, like in a terrible parenting moment, and I'm losing it, my wife isn't actually in it with me or for me if she comes over into that space with me, and then we both do terrible parenting practices together.
Yeah. And then you feel like connected to and like supported, but at the same time, like she didn't do you any favor.
No, and we didn't do our kids any favor.
Tyler, I think there's two things at play with this one. One is like we all have our bad parenting moments because we just get worn down in life, right? So our emotions aren't regulated and we don't do our best work. And so that there's those moments, right? And in those moments, it's awesome when a spouse can come along and regulate and be the steady one, while
Be
the
like,
other
hey,
one,
Tyler, get out of here, take a break.
that's great.
I'll handle this. Like,
That's great.
you
Yeah.
know, yeah.
But then there's that where we're just having a bad day and one parent isn't doing well, and the other might be. But there's also the bigger thing going on, which is like my wife was raised by two amazing parents, good people. I was raised by two amazing parents, good people, and her parents did some things right, and they did some things really well that were different than our parents. And our parents did some things right that were different than hers. Her parents did some things wrong, though, that aren't awesome for our kids, that she almost unconsciously does, and I can see it, but she can't. Same thing over here. I do some things automatically, unconsciously, that I think is natural and good and normal, and I just go for it. And she's like, whoa, pump the brakes there. Now, if we both bring pride to the table and we're like, my way is the way, and and she say, no, her way is the way, what's going to happen?
A whole lot of friction and a lot of taking it personal again, Brannon. It feels like a personal attack on you or on her, rather than the goal being, hey, what's the best outcome for our kids here? Like, what are the principles we're trying to teach?
Right. The way I was raised, I'm thinking this is the right. Comes back to we don't have to agree. We can have different perspectives, and then we can learn from each other. She can reflect things back to me. I can reflect things back to her, and it's like, okay, like I'll be open to a new way if it really feels better. Now that's hard. That can be really, really hard.
Well, because those things you're talking about feel ingrained, like they're almost not even conscious in a lot of ways.
Automatic. But her difference is what's bringing me to consciousness, which is a good thing. And my difference helps her like really examine, why do I do what I do? And then together you create your own parenting style together, bringing all of that to the table. So just be careful, just expecting your partner to always back you up and see things exactly the same way. The other thing to think about, Tyler, is each kid, like parenting is so complex.
Yeah, we do whole episodes on these.
Each kid is different, right? So she's going to parent that one kid that way. I'm going to parent that one kid that way. Like, how do we figure that one out for that specific child? So it's not just across the board we're figuring it out. It's specific to each child. So we could do a full episode on this one, Tyler.
Yeah, I think inside of this misnomer, of course you want to be respectful to each other in front of your kids. You want your kids to see respectful communication, but also one of the blessings that you can teach your kids is that there is a healthy way to have discussion and disagreement. And when your kid gets to see that process, it actually helps them learn how to do that for themselves too. And so, of course, you don't want to do it like, you don't want to turn it into a power play where the kid is triangling, meaning they're pulling against you and your partner, and then your partners are having a big conflict over it. But learning to actually have that kind of conversation, like we just had an instance in our family with some parenting differences. We're still trying to iron it out on something that we need to do with one of our kids. And my wife still sees it a certain way, and I see it slightly differently. And I think we both have the right heart for it. We're just figuring out the best way to teach for our daughter. And this has been an ongoing discussion for almost 2 weeks now, which is by itself not great parenting, because you usually want your consequences to be pretty immediate. But we want to get it right this time. And I think we're this close to getting it right. And if I go and disperse what we've come to, it'll sound a little different than if she goes and disperses what we've come to. But we've discussed it enough and we understand it enough with each other that both of us can live with it either way. And that's the way that it's going to go on this particular time for us.
Think about, Tyler, when there's a parenting situation, kind of like what you're talking about, and mom and dad can't navigate it in a healthy way and connect with each other and understand each other. but they go into drama and they feel undermined and they fight. What then does the kid do if that's the case? A lot of times.
Well, there's a couple of things. The kid will either start to feel responsible for the parents' like struggles in the relationship, which is horrible on a child, or the child starts to learn to use that to get what they think their perceived needs are. And that's what's called triangling, where they actually start playing the parents against each other. And you hear this all the time. Like usually there's the like Disneyland dad and I'm the one who has to keep all the rules, and then pretty soon what ends up happening is there's this polarity that goes further and further away, because the more that my partner tightens down on the rules, the more I feel like I've got to show up and show a little bit more grace and fun. And the more I do that, the more they get frustrated with me, and then they tighten down on the rules more. And pretty soon it's like the kid is getting the extreme end of both sides, which actually isn't healthy for them. Somewhere in the middle is healthier for them.
Right. So coming back to your example of what you're doing with your wife is so healthy, is even though it's taken some time, is to stop and say, okay, you can be you, I can be me. Let's come to the table and really figure out what is best for them and how can we be on the same page together. So we don't have to have the same parenting style. I have mine, you have yours. That's okay. Let's use the goodness of those things to help move forward what needs to happen with this situation. And the kid will feel like, oh, even though mom and dad might be different, even though I know I can push this button with dad or push that button with mom and try to they're going to come together and they're actually going to get to the same page together. And then they're solid. So
yeah. That's that one way of doing that is to try to remember, as you said, not to take it personally and get your pride involved, but also bring it back to the principles, because a lot of times there might be different principles that you're both looking at. Like I want the principle of honesty and integrity and hard work over here, and my wife's looking at it from a different perspective, going like, but I want also to teach the principle of grace and growth mindset. And it's like, okay, then now that the principles are there, how do we overlap those together? Instead of fighting with each other, we can work on overlapping principles.
Yes.
So,
yes. Tyler, this is fun. Break down these misnomers. I know that we speak from personal experience, but also we see it day in and day out with the couples and relationships that we work with. And it's a lot of times these things just are so automatic and they just start happening. And it's good to take a break, like zoom out a little bit and be like, whoa, that belief or way of thinking isn't working for us. Maybe we need to examine that and try something different. Oh, we didn't give words for the parenting one. What do you have any words with that, Tyler? I'm putting you on the spot.
Well, I think I was, one of the words that I was using was principle, and you could apply that to other things, but bring it back to principles.
I like that.
If you want to add one, go ahead.
No, I like that. Your styles can be different, but the principles like come together and be unified in those principles. It's good. So, all right. Thank you Tyler, any last things? It
looks like we got through this. We typed in testing for our title, and then I didn't check that yet with this new format. So,
and we still have people listening.
But other than that, we got through our first episode on this platform. We'll be right back, turning around here in the next 5 minutes or so with another live episode. But looks like it's working. So
awesome. Well, you guys go create some healthy relationships. Until next time, keep on keeping on.